Arrgh!
Into the Wild is a biodrama adapted from the 1996 book of the same name. It follows the real-life story of Christopher McCandless, who left his comfortable upper-middle-class life behind in order to hitchhike across the US during the early 90s. It premiered back in 2007 during the Rome Film Fest, but has since received cult status, and 13 years after its release I was still getting film nerds pestering me to go and see it. So I did. The story focuses around the main character Chris, or Alex Supertramp as he goes by. In it, he roams the American countryside, meeting new and interesting people with the ultimate goal of living off the land in Alaska. The film jumps between his travels on the road and his life in Alaska, which acts as the movie's endgame, all the while accompanied with the occasional narration from his sister Corinne.
The initial comfort that gave Mom and Dad quickly turned to the realization that Chris was actually trying not to be found.
Apart from that, the plot itself is pretty simple, with most of the action happening in the dialogue and the cinematography. And there are some breathtaking landscape shots that still hold up over a decade later. However, as the story progresses, you start to learn more about Chris and his life before he started his travels, discovering that what may have looked like a well-off upbringing was actually covering up some serious family skeletons.
I remember the first family meeting to let us in on their plans for getting a divorce. They wanted us to choose which of them we'd live with. We cried our eyes out.
As someone who's never really had to experience trauma, I was initially kind of confused by some of Chris's more questionable decisions. However, over time his actions started to make sense to me. Chris is a man who has been irreversibly shaped by his past, and by shedding himself of everything his family gave him and cutting himself off completely from society, he is emancipating himself from everything that has caused him so much distress in his life.
Getting out of this sick society. Society.
Society!
Society, man.
Society!
Society. Society.
Society!
Society. You know, society.
One thing you have to know about this movie is that it is slow. Director Sean Penn takes his sweet time letting the audience take in the beauty that is the American wilderness. Which is an absolute visual treat, but it may not be for everyone, particularly those with a short attention span like myself. So if you like films with a complex, fast-paced story, then you may find this film a bit of a slog. But if you like deep character studies, or you're a sucker for a good dose of nature porn, then Into the Wild is definitely going to be your thing.